Isn't it? Wow.
Well, I started it, to be fair.
Okay,
Hello,
okay.
everybody. Welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. I'm here with my friend Schnitzel Ninja and our guest tonight, Rich Lieberman. You guys know him from his YouTube channel, probably. He's a former or a family friend of the Owens family. As you know, Laura Owens, who we've been covering her court case. She's now facing criminal charges in Scottsdale, Arizona. So we just have Rich on to talk to us for a little bit tonight. I know that this has been a long time in the making. I got pretty busy with court stuff recently, so thanks for the patience, Rich. Appreciate it.
Well, that's the story of my life is patience, whether I like it or not. But good to be on the show finally. Great.
Yeah. So how did you come across us?
I have got, since the whole phenomena began, I do a media show here on YouTube, and aren't we all lucky about that? Anyway, so it's just I started getting all these people when it became apparent that I was trying to forge some sort of I want to say counter argument, but talking about Ron Owens and the Bay Area media and how we knew one another, that kind of thing. I started getting this avalanche of people wanting to talk to me, which I was heartened and humbled and all that. And then it got more and more, and some of them were kind of goofy people and dorky and all that, and some I thought was
good. So you got my messages.
No comment. No. You seem very reasonable and very. I think I told you a story off mic about I appreciated your candor, but I also appreciated the fact that you could have just gone complete internet whack job, borderline nutty. That guy's.
There's still time for that, man.
Well, it's the internet. We have to maintain the image and all that. Anyway, long story short on that. So, I began to form, I don't want to say an alternate opinion, but just a fact of I was absolutely flabbergasted by what I had read and what I'd seen, and I didn't know the out and out, the sheer force of this whole story. I'm like, where the hell were you, Rich? Kind of a thing. And so, I began reading and doing a lot of, the proverbial digging into the weeds and all that. So then I, like everybody else, I became fascinated in a curious way, but also a very, oh my God, is this the family of Ron Owens and all that? So, that's how I reacted, that kind of a thing. And some people thought I was being bought out. I guess we'll get into that in the future line of I wish I was. No. This whole thing, and well, I'm going on and on and on. But to me, it wasn't. The whole thing was not at all, still to this day, covered in the San Francisco media. And I was like, why? What is going on here? And so I just think I would, I thought about doing something like this. And people were saying, you're, again, influenced by Ron Owens and the family and his wife and all that. So I'm not bought or anything. I'm independent. I'm a free thinker. I like to think of myself as massively independent, no matter what. I mean, I'm obvious. I'm not trying to be, holier than thou. We all have our biases. We all have our a certain amount of, protection and all that. But look, I have no, as they say, dog in the fight. Yeah. So I'm not here to spread any falsehoods. I'm not, you folks, and some of you, I obviously stated many a times, were more credible than others. And I was comfortable with you, Laura, and Lauren, sorry. How many times does that happen?
Omar does that too.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah. Like people that call me Rich, and I say Richard or Rich or whatever, professionally Rich. I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but so in any event, I just thought, it would be good to get the word out and talk about how I got involved in all of this to some degree. And, as I said, you seemed credible and cool and nice and all that. So here I am.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. No, Rich saw a video of my mom and then he was sold. So.
Oh God, that was like a scene out of When Harry Met Sally. Or
wait, which one was it?
I think she was like, you were in, well, you're home and there was something going on. You were drinking water, and she kind of, I think she just arrived at the house.
She came back from her run, and she was like
that was it.
On the camera, yeah. And she was
Right.
like, "Hello," and she was telling me all about. I was like, "Mom, I'm in the middle of something."
That's the one. You. That's it. Yep. Reminded me of my mom in a way, but look, without them, we wouldn't be here, right? So
that's right.
That's true.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So I think I try to tell people that we've all been following this for a long time, but it must be kind of a little bit of a different situation for you because you've known these people, at least Ron and Jan, and this is like a tremendous amount of information to take in. So I feel like that's got to be kind of a roller coaster, at least mentally a little bit. So I mean, some people have said that you've kind of changed your mind, but at the same time, I think it's just sort of taking in information and that evolves. Your opinion evolves as you go. So.
Well, there's so many ironies here, which also, full disclosure, I wanted to get out in the open because the idea, and I've talked about this on my show, that I was somehow influenced, bought out, paid off, this, that, and the other was hilarious because
we're actually splitting the profits, guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the checks in the mail, right? So look, I'm going to do a side story here, try to make it succinct as possible. But
yeah, do you think?
I knew Ron when I was basically a teen growing up. Before I, was like looking at pictures of Donny Osmond's girlfriends and things of that nature. I was just one of those, that I got a fan, I believe.
Me?
Who, me? But so I knew Ron way back in the 70s. He was just starting to become the big media force that he had become, and he would eventually become a Hall of Fame radio guy and big social whirl in the Bay Area in San Francisco, mover, shaker, yada, yada. And I got to know him, and I met him very early in my life. And I don't want to say I was a groupie or anything like that because I wasn't. I was just fascinated. I wanted to work in radio. I loved media. My two big people that I love, probably wrecked my relationships growing up too, was Larry King and Ron. And I got to know Larry very, very well. That's another story. But my point being is that Ron was everything that I wanted to be from a professional standpoint. I wanted to do media. I wanted to interview people. I was infinitely fascinated by the forces of television and cable and radio. And then obviously the internet became a part of our presence and so forth. And, anyway, so Ron was very kind, took me into his life. I was there at his wedding. He married a broadcaster, an anchor woman from San Francisco, a lady by the name of Jan Black. And I kind of saw this whole thing, take place. It was there with him. And he obviously had, children, which turned out to be 2 daughters, that kind of a thing. And he was just a person to be reckoned with in the Bay Area. Dominant ratings, was at a station that was bigger than a mere radio station, and it was a real force. So people really took akin to Ron and developed arguably into the top San Francisco Bay Area, top 10, top 5 actually, media market. So I knew Ron fairly well. And we went to baseball games. I played poker with him. At the time, I was seeing a woman, which was breaking news. Rich sees women.
But oh my God!
I know, really, yeah, right.
I'm changing the headline of this stream.
I know, right? It's like I'm doing my Woody Allen, very didactic. But anyway, so oh God, I know. This is what happens when your parents sniff airplane glue. Thank you. Anyway, so we got to know Ron, and he was cool, and we were, he really liked me. He thought I was funny. He thought I would, and so, he had this big house in the Sea Cliff area of San Francisco, which is just like south of the Golden Gate Bridge, and we became very good friends. Went to his wedding. I had his phone number. We talked and all that, and it wasn't 555-5555, but it was a real phone number. So I was really pleased about that. And the idea that soon things began as later on in life. Ron was again a big time media force in San Francisco, and how can I put this? Well, I began doing my media show and my blog, which I actually wrote more than I did this YouTube thing. This YouTube thing became a part due to circumstances. And about, 15 years ago, I had a big public falling out with Ron. Because at the time, Cumulus, which is a big and still is a radio company that buys radio stations and basically fucks them up big time, a virtual company gone run amok without any worrying about having to dealing with the FCC because there is no FCC. So Ron kind of kissed their ass. Here he is, 40 years at a radio station, big time, making a glob of money, highest paid personality in the market. So anyway, I'm trying to wrap this up and give you a condensed version of what is a lengthy story. But I had a falling out with Ron, and I belittled him. I mocked him. Why? Because he sold out, in my opinion. Well, I'm going to say sell out, but he basically, there was a real ugly situation at KGO, and they got bought by this corporate behemoth called Cumulus, changed formats, got rid of a whole bunch of people, not Ron. They kept him, their MVP, and I belittled Ron for the better part of a decade and said he was a complete fuck you, asshole, fill in the blank. And so we had a big falling out. So the idea later on that we would have this, you took us and didn't want to print anything having to do with his daughter.
We got some people here saying they remember all that.
Well, they should, because that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to come on the show too. To dispel the notion that I am somehow being sucked up or pawned by Ron or paid off, because it was ludicrous. And not only that, if anything, I was, let me just retrace it. A couple of years ago, when this issue with his daughter started making the rounds, unbeknownst to me, I publicly said, Ron, we had a really ugly termination there. You're in the Hall of Fame. You've had issues with your health. I don't want it to end like this. And I said, look, I'm going to apologize for this reason. Not because of what I said. Oh, no. Because of the way I did it. Not because of what I basically said. He basically was kind of a shell. And that by the way, I just noticed I'm looking at you and I keep forgetting that you're
It's all good. No, we're not.
So sorry, Schnitzel Ninja, very lovely. Anyway, apologies to everybody. But anyway, so and I said, look, I'm very sad in the manner in which I acted, but I just was frustrated, was angry. KGO is basically a very powerful force in the Bay Area. It was not just a mere radio station. Anyway, so he accepted my apology, and I said, look, we'll make up, and then. I'm not going to push back on what I said. The way I did it, that may have been a little bit, I really went overboard, but I was angry. In any event, so then, now this thing, I guess, happened right around the time, I guess, May of 23? Was that when the first England was, maybe I'm a little off, but right around there.
Schnitzel Ninja, you probably know.
What was
2023? Okay. Yeah, right about there. And I had no idea. And the irony is I had a friend who worked at the radio station at the time who did an interview with Laura. And I never heard it. I didn't know. This thing was not around here. Geez, I wonder why. Wink, wink. The mainstream press here. And I'm like, then, what was it? About, I don't know, almost a year ago, I read about it. I'm like, oh my God. Oh God, I can't believe this kind of a thing. And then, I put two and two together and all that. And, present day, here I am talking about it and going back and forth, having conversations with Ron and Jan Black and trying to just say, without taking sides. And I still don't believe what's going on. I mean, I'm like, I'm almost semi-state of denial kind of a thing. But that's basically in a quick condensed version. Boy, you can imagine what the long version's like. I would have been bad listening to Stairway to Heaven, but but anyway, this is a little length joke. Okay. And that's basically how I got to this position. And I do a show in San Francisco and beyond, and I talk about the media. And one of the things we discussed is this, how could you not? And right around the time those articles in the Chronicle, our illustrious newspaper here, started appearing that Ron was having issues in life, and that he started a GoFundMe page for reasons I don't know, but have understood a little bit, I think. And, and they didn't even mention the thing with Laura, which I found reprehensible. And I talked about it. And I said, I don't think there's anything onerous here. I don't think there's anything unscrupulous, that kind of a thing. And then the barrage started, right? By the way, I'm sorry for the a proverbial wandering Jew here. I'm like,
no need to apologize. You're all good.
Very self-conscious of things.
Oh, just be yourself.
On the other hand, ladies, I have good credit, 800 score. I'm a homeowner. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. You don't get a body like this overnight. It takes years of neglect. But anyway, so it was the proverbial, you're caught in this is a guy known for years. His wife was there when he had not literally there, when he had the children and all that, and had a big family, and a real success story. And kept reading about all this, and I just to this day, I because I can't believe. I mean, I obviously believe now, but how can this happen? How can this be happening? And that's when the whole proverbial people are contacting me. We want you to do this, do that. And I didn't think, based upon the fact that they didn't really have any coverage of this in the Bay Area. And Ron's very popular with still a whole lot of media people in San Francisco. So maybe I'm stepping way, way, way ahead, but I started questioning, nothing onerous, as I said, where is this money going? Because there was an article about Ron and family. He moved to Arizona. He used to live in San Francisco. I mentioned it because he had mentioned it. He had a gambling problem about 20 years ago. He had issues in life, but I still couldn't figure out, because he was pretty good with money and putting things away and being responsible and all that. But I thought it was odd that they didn't mention, they being the media, the reporters, who never mentioned this thing with his daughter. And I found that to be ridiculous, And I myself started talking to Ron again. I said, Ron, what's the deal here? It's not really good optics, that kind of a thing. We talked about him doing my show. And then after agreeing 2 times, he didn't do the show. But for
I think you mentioned that in one of your episodes.
Well, he had told me, lawyers, whomever they were at the time, said, you can't do the show. And then I told him, look, you can do the show. I won't bring up the case. I'll kind of put a little, he himself said, nah, that's the proverbial 600-pound gorilla in the room. And I explained to him that, I just wanted to talk to him about the lion and try to move around the issue with his daughter. That, in retrospect, was probably the wisest thing, because I don't know how you not talk about it, right? So,
right.
And then I started getting the voluminous amount of emails and people asking me, and and I said on my show, I'm very transparent in that regard. I didn't want to have anything like that hanging over my head, which is a pretty big head, by the way. This is what happens again when you sniff airplane.
This is self-deprecation.
Different line. All right. On the other hand, Mom, thanks for not practicing birth control.
Lord.
Dead for 7 years.
It's a beautiful head. It's your head, and no one else will ever have that head.
Look like that. What was that the Uncle Fester? Remember that? What was that show?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. I asked someone once. I was like, "Is that an endearing term, Uncle Fester?" They're like, "No."
I don't
Brent."
care. Look at me. I mean, good thing I do have a house and an 800 score. Anyway, Ninja, she liked that one. Okay. Lauren is like, Rich, why the hell anyway?
No, I just keep muting my mic.
Yeah, I know. I whisper. I can be heard in Berkeley, and I'm 7 miles away. I'm loud. Yeah, I'm very loud. So anyway, it's just so I basically said, look, Ron didn't buy me out. Look at my records. I'm open, kind of a thing. And but people really got on me and all that. So I tried to say, look, folks, I've been hard on Ron for years. We had a very public falling out. I had people telling me right on, for what I stood up for. Other people, his Facebook Amen corner threatening me and things of that nature. So, which made me, the target of, I don't want to say death threats, but there were people like, what's your grind? What's your act? What are you trying to, prove? And then this thing happens again. So, and then the article, and there was 2 articles. There was one in the Mercury News, the Chronicle. Then the Silicon Valley, the Mercury News in San Jose.
Mercury News, that one was kind of crap.
Oh, and they both, I'm like, you mean to tell me you don't mention something that's, which if you put 2 and 2 together, you're like,
right, exactly.
For, $150,000, which by the way, he's raised close to $130,000, I'm told.
Yeah.
And there were these vague, and by the way, I'm not talking behind Ron's back. I told him I was going to do a show. I told him he and Jan. I said, and it's not just that I'm worried about my own situation,
right? But
I thought, and I said on my show, I said it was very peculiar. Where is this money going? It's got a great pension, SAG-AFTRA, got a Cadillac health plan, that kind of a thing. And I openly myself, I don't want to hurt anybody, but I thought it was just odd. And and I began talking to him. We had some discussions off the record, conversations, and Jan. And then they told me that no, it was all on the up and up, and that the people that were sort of being advocates for the gentleman, Clayton, were nothing more than rumor mongers and opportunists and this, that, and the other, and whatever. And I told him, look, that's whatever. And but in any event, that's why I'm here. I'm here I got no issue talking about the truth and giving my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I'm, about as transparent as they can be, except for my gym class in 1981 when that was
right.
I shouldn't even joke about that. This ninja, a schnitzer, whatever the hell, and you is all right. So anyway,
it's a breaded snack.
What?
Well, breaded snack. She's a breaded snack.
Okay.
I am a breaded snack.
I'm at your mercy. That's how I am at the present time. And
somebody has a question for you here, Rich.
Oh, okay, sure.
Did Rich ask about what medical care wasn't covered through Ron's benefits?
I think it was pretty comprehensive. In fact, the SAG-AFTRA benefits are pretty damn good. But look, they told me there's certain things they don't cover and they cap things, and it was a bunch of medical jargon gobbledygook that and I'm not saying what Owens told me, but that's the damning. Is it damning or damning? Damning thing.
Damning.
Is
damning.
that they all? Yeah.
No N.
No N. Okay. Thank you, Miss Manners. That's the real crazy thing about this whole thing is that they seem very credible. They seem like, they're just, they being they're trying to do something. And I looked at the evidence and I read all the, materials and saw the tape and her being, apprehended by the authorities in Scottsdale. And and then one day I called him. I said, "Geez, I know you're a father, and it must be very difficult to be dealing with this shit. I don't have kids, or at least that I know of. And I'm sorry. And I just don't know how they be going through all this stuff. So that's why I further shake my head in disgust. And it's not overwhelmed me, but I'm also I'm very puzzled and how they can deal with this shit. I mean, and yet they do. But there are some curious things, the GoFundMe efforts, the statements from them, and I realize a lot of it, is court related, and then there is going to be some probably. And then I read the indictments and all that. And it's
nutty,
crazy,
pretty nutty.
It really is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks. I wanted to say, I know I can't speak for everyone, but I have no ill will towards their family. I don't know them, obviously, and I didn't know them when I found out about this, and I found out about it on Reddit, and I believed her story at first. I was like, that fucking asshole. I'm so sorry he's not supporting you. That's terrible.
Right.
I hope that changes. And then I started hearing more about the case and finding out more things and deducing just from, what I was seeing, not what Dave Neal or anyone else was saying, but from what I saw and analyzing the things that I came across, my opinion that I've developed today. And I'm not a Clayton stan. I didn't know Clayton before the whole case started. I knew of The Bachelor, of course.
Yeah.
So it's
doesn't make any sense. I know it's
it's just it's tough because I could see how, it just so happens that thousands of other people have come to the same conclusion as me after seeing all that stuff, and maybe some have been influenced by others. I don't know, but
I know a lot of people who say, they told me, and I completely agree and concur. It's not even a matter of agreeing. Hey, you got credible people, good family, proverbial nuclear family upbringing. There are people sometimes that grow up, and kids could have different chromosomes. And I'm being a little facetious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Who knows? She could be screwed up. I'm talking about the daughter. And they could be defending their daughter and all that, which is totally reasonable, right?
Right.
But I don't know. It's I go back and forth. And I knew these folks growing up. I did.
Yeah.
At his wedding, I was at literally when he met Jan at believe it or not, the circus, the Ringling Brothers Circus in Oakland in 1976. When I was a kid, I was 13 years old, and I'm there watching these two meet, and they,
that's crazy.
Kind of a thing. So obviously, I'm going to have a little bit more of a reaction, but by the same token, I'm not intertwined into their lifestyle or into their life, into their what have you. And I, again, like to think of myself as being even keel and independent and forming my own opinion. Hopefully, we'll get, as the cliche goes, we'll get to the bottom of it and we'll get the truth. That would be nice, right?
Yeah, that would be nice. And I can't imagine being in many ways close to these people, at least at a certain point in time and for many years. And
I want to add something too. I haven't been close to them in a long time. We've talked. They reached out to me when I started doing my show, and when the articles in the newspapers here, those articles came out, and there was a third article, and I explained my own puzzlement and my own sort of, where is this money going?
Yeah, and the time that I'll say to an outsider, and I think that Laura has had help from people within her family, whether it's them doing things or just covering it up or supporting her in whatever way. But from the outside, the timing is it makes you question, what,
It's
like you
very,
said,
very, yeah, very legit.
yeah. And, you look at the evidence of like the health plans that he probably does have, right? I haven't seen them, but I'm sure, um, and then to think, yeah, that amount of money and how much, a criminal defense attorney probably costs between 100 and 150K for this case. So,
Well, let me just say this, and I'm not giving you anything that many people, and I think it's worthy of mentioning. Look, attorneys, in fact, many high-profile lawyers, they will do pro bono cases, i.e., OJ, Scott Peterson,
Mhm.
because they know it's going to get a lot of publicity. They know that it's going to be in presses and all the cable shows, etc. So they will do that, and some of them do it like a contingency. They get paid if they get a certain verdict or whatever. It's not like, I shouldn't use that analogy because that's not good. But what they'll do is they'll do a case pro bono. You pay them maybe for expenses, that kind of thing, and they in turn get massive publicity. CNN, Fox, or those proverbial channels that cover these kind of things. So it is not unusual for some of these lawyers, not all, to and this was very evident during the OJ trial and Scott Peterson. They took the cases, and then I know OJ gave some money because he had money, but a lot of them do these cases in the hopes that they get the publicity, they get the all the bravado that comes with it, especially if they win the case. And so it's not unusual to get lawyers who will, again, the greatest example of that was OJ. 5 attorneys at one point, the DNA guy, and he had the criminal guy, and Cochran and Dershowitz and all that. The Mount Rushmore of lawyers and all that. It's not unusual. On the other hand, I said again on my show, there was skepticism. Where's the money? And Ron was very vague about it, and I realized there's certain things you can't talk about.
Sure, yeah.
But I said it, and I didn't get an answer. So,
and maybe they feel like it's not anyone's business, and I guess it's their prerogative too.
It's all it's all of our business when you go out and make a public, plea. You lose that.
Yeah.
No, for sure, especially to all your fans who probably have much less.
You completely lose that. And then who knows? Maybe they're all right. Maybe this is a complete and I still think I believe them because why would I not believe them kind of a thing. But on the other hand, and then there was a subsequent second GoFundMe, and that was kind of odd in my book and somewhat
yeah.
So
yeah,
not also saying, and I could take questions on this, but why are you suddenly now bashing? I'm not bashing him. I'm merely stating that I was put in a position to where I'm having to defend myself because somehow the perception amongst some that I was influenced or bought off, and I completely not the case. So
yeah. We have lots of people who ask the same kind of question. Have you ever watched the trial video, like her trial video or videos from the court? And that's to be honest,
I haven't. I've read a lot. And
it's a lot, though. It's a lot to catch up on. So.
I know. Tell me about it. Yeah. Which people asking me on the other hand, the advocates for Clayton. Well, have you looked at their motives? And I thought to myself, which I brought up again on the show, why are these people, why are they showing such ardent, support? What do they do? That's a lot of time, and advocates, and that requires a lot of shows and research and this, that, and the other. So I was openly asking questions about the Clayton people. So that which further makes this whole thing so maddeningly bizarre, not to mention sad. So
I'll say for me, I know you didn't ask me specifically, but when I started feeling like maybe she was not telling the truth about this stuff, there's stuff that I related to that have happened to me in my personal life that I thought, wow, if someone's really lying about all this stuff, that's crazy. And like, that's not cool. Like that's not right. I don't feel that that's right. And I thought about someone like Mike Maricini, who I do feel is telling the truth. I do. And I thought, if my son or my brother or cousin or whoever was falsely accused like that, and it affected them for so many years, to the point where their own family was like, who would lie about this?
Mm-hmm.
This has to be
Yeah.
true. You must have done these things. And they didn't. And what do? You know? And he didn't have anyone for him then to support him and to help. And I feel very moved by that as well. And if she were on, the way I see it, if she were on the other side, I'd be advocating for her. I
Mm-hmm.
would. It's not about anyone personally for me. And it is a lot of hours, and I donate all of my money to the victims. So I'm not in this, and I'm anonymous. I'm not trying to,
I understand.
but I know not everyone's the same setup as me, right? But just for me personally,
Everybody knows all of my business.
now they do.
I know that you love to get in late in New York hotel rooms, that you order Chinese food, and that you like iced tea with no ice. No, I'm kidding.
It was pizza, bro. It was pizza and it was water.
Lauren, I'm hungry now. Jeez. I was on the
Pizza and
Karen
water.
Carpenter diet, and now I have to think.
Karen Carpenter diet. I don't know who that is, but you should be hungry.
You don't know who that is?
I don't remember.
No,
Karen
who the heck is
Carpenter.
that?
I shouldn't even have joked about it.
Who's Karen Carpenter?
She had an issue with weight, and
And the famous singer,
she was a
Oh,
singer with the
I don't know.
Carpenters. Remember
the Carpenter brothers.
Karen Carpenter. Yeah, look it up.
Oh.
Well, I'll talk to you about it later. I why the hell? What is it? I know that's kind of seeing therapy, but it's all right. It'll work out. Yeah, it's really, and not that I'm some Mother Teresa of humor, but I'm trying to inject humor into it because it's so.
You have to. There's no other way.
Sad. Well, yeah, right. And I've seen one thing you asked me, have I looked at videos and all? I saw his interview in a local Phoenix station, which I'm sure you guys saw. And it was, a guy could be a complete jerk. He could be a complete whatever. But when he talked about the situation, I was like, well, that makes sense. But then I'm thinking, like, well, what is her deal? I mean, is this all just? There's never been anything like this before, to my knowledge. By the way, I've never met her. It's weird, but she moved away from her.
Karen
home.
Carpenter? No, I'm just kidding.
No, not Karen Carpenter.
No, I'm just kidding.
Although I'll give you a joke. Some of your audience might laugh at this. I said, if Karen Carpenter had eaten the other half of Cass Elliott's sandwich, they'd both be alive today. But anyway.
Oh my! I don't even know who those people are, and oh my god.
Well, what do you like? Okay, what are you like? 30?
You were old enough to know.
Sir.
You're 32.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god, I like the glasses, by the way. Oh, anyway, Rich, acting like Rich Lieberman. But anyway, this is crazy. All right, yeah. Well, no, I was talking about Laura Owens. I never met her. And they both the other daughters in New York. I think you know about that, and completely nothing like her sister. And I feel sorry for her because if I can't imagine she's making this up, but if she is making it up, maybe there's something wrong, and I don't know. I again, literally and figuratively, shake my head, and but I don't know what's happening, other than what I've read, and it's.
Yeah.
Questions.
I had a question for you about like, what were some things that young Rich admired about Ron, and have any of those changed?
Well, from a pure professional standpoint, he was a big time guy in San Francisco, and he interviewed politicians, very good at his job, and entertaining, and he interviewed future President Obama, just political people, social people, singers, celebrities, entertainers. And he was good. You're like, damn, this guy's really, really tells stories, asks the right questions, that kind of. He was developed a real strong following in the Bay Area. So, and it wasn't, it wasn't an ego thing on my end. I love being around him at times, and he played cards and things. Not gambling cards.
Mhm.
But, he'd pick me up. We'd go to the races. I wasn't gambling, and he swears, by the way. And I asked him if I could say it public. This was, 6 months. He hasn't gambled in 20 years, but that's a very addictive situation. Believe me.
Did you see him? Did you experience?
No, not completely, but look, he talked about it. He did bet, and I know about the stories with the mortgages that he took out, and that he had like 9 mortgages and just a year or whatever it was, 10 years. I was like, well, what? And when he moved from San Francisco to Scottsdale, he was undergoing, he had about 4 bouts with cancer, which a lot of people said that bullshit. That's not the case. I don't think it is. Wouldn't bet my life on it, but don't think that's the case. He had a diagnosis years ago of Parkinson's disease, which is completely valid. He literally drilled a hole in his head and to do this experimental medical therapy, which, our paper here, the Chronicle covered and all that.
Yeah, and I saw an interview with him too, with him and Jan talking about that. And I think his doctor came on as well.
How long ago was it?
Oh, that was about, what was that, 2010, so maybe like about 15 years ago. He had still been working at KGO. KGO was bought by Cumulus. And then Cumulus is basically this conglomerate owned by a hedge fund. And then they absolutely disgraced this once legacy radio station that they own many radio stations. They still do. And KGO was dissolved and eventually went to several iterations. And now it's no longer even there. So, yeah. So that was that. And, but he actually, they let him go. They couldn't afford to pay him. He was making quite a bit of money. He was making well over like $1,200,000. His agent was a guy by the name of Don Buchwald. Don Buchwald. Now you might say, well, why is he saying Don Buchwald? Don Buchwald was the agent for none other than Howard Stern.
Right.
You know that story then.
Yeah, and David Katz, of course.
Yes.
Yep.
Katz.
David Katz. I know that name.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the feline fit. No,
No.
Ladies, the hell with this. Let's just have pizza and So.
We can have a sleepover pizza and like
yes.
Shirley
Temples. We love pillow
pizza and Shirley Temples.
Yeah, that sounds good. Shirley Temples, right? Very good. Yeah. I don't drink it.
Hang on one second. Redondo Beach, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate it. And also you have a comment here. Would you have gone to Planned Parenthood on a Sunday? Yeah, that's a whole thing from Laura's trial. Not you, but from Laura's trial. She said she went to Planned Parenthood on a Sunday. Planned Parenthood is closed on Sunday in that location. So, Rach G, thank you for the $5. Curious if Rich has read the court documents or watching the court videos. I did ask him that one when I saw your comment.
Yeah, I didn't see everything. I know that there's no reason for me to. I'm not researching this. I don't call myself a journalist. I do a talk show and I attempt to be funny, which, as you know,
we'll be the judge of that.
No. Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you, Judge. So no, because there's no reason for me to. I read as much as I could. I saw the interviews. I watched his interviews in the Phoenix media and all that. I know pretty much what's going on. I'm not I'm not a counsel or anything having to do with his or her defense, that kind of a thing. And like I said, people are like, well, why is he doing this show then? Why is he suddenly because I want the truth out on my end too.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm naive. Maybe this is just making it more.
It's hard. Well, I mean, the one thing you'll learn about the internet is you can't make everybody happy and you can't make everyone believe you.
Oh, I'm starting to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Which is hard. It's hard. Like, I think just on a human level, it's hard because you're telling the truth. Yeah.
And as I've stated, there are parts of this story, and you guys don't know the brushback here with this GoFundMe that I openly said. In fact, there was a headline that people caught attention to, which ramped up my emails. Ron, come clean. And I'm not saying like he's hiding anything or he's fabricating stuff or that he's lying. And these are good people. I don't know the whole deal. I know they have to be careful because it's now entered, the legal arena, and they can use stuff that they say can be used to proverbial, even though it's their daughter and they're, witnesses and that kind of thing. I get all that. I'm just, I have nothing to hide. People say, why are you doing the show? Why are you, there's nothing for you to make up, because I'm transparent. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I just wanted to, present, so.
Yeah.
We get one more from Rach D. Thank you for the $10. Many people on Clayton's side here are because of what Schnitzel said. Women who have lost babies, rape victims, etc. Most hated Clayton on The Bachelor. I'll tell you, I think I told Rich this a while ago. Clayton and I, we became friends. So I know Clayton now, and I feel like Clayton does not come across very well on TV. He's an excellent draw for views, but he does not come across great on TV. But he, as a person, Clayton is not at all the man that you see on the screen. He's a good person, and we are friends now. So,
and look, they're very unsympathetic people who can be completely honest and truthful and look and act and be schmucks, right? The court of law and all that does not put away people based on the fact whether they come across well. Conversely, there are people that are very well-meaning and this, that, and the other, and they're completely liars, and they're not very truthful. So, not making a description of the present people at heart, but I thought I would add that because I'm rich.
No, thank you.
Laughing at my own lines.
I've got a couple people who are asking a question. I think you also answered this for me a while ago.
Oh, not for sale, damn it! If you want to come and meet me, you get on that airplane and come to San Francisco. Go to the local jail, for God's sake.
No, they're asking if Ron seemed lucid when you talked to him. Did he seem like he could make? Yeah. Okay.
Good question.
You told me that a while ago.
I said it on the show too. Yeah, I did. He's not. He's going to be 80 in October. He was born in October of 46. Good. I know arithmetic. Anyway, but he is lucid. And Jan is like 20 years younger than him. So, and they were really, really, that's again a fair question because
I didn't realize the age gap was so big.
He met her when she was young, kind of a thing, and they still hit it off very, very well. Obviously, they did. They had children. So, he's lucid. He didn't show any effect whatsoever. In fact, sounded like he was on the air. But I mean, he's there are certain things that where he was, the voice sounds different, but when he's talking, because when you get older, your voice has a different alter. So, but no, I'm glad somebody asked that because that was one thing I kept telling. Geez, he sounded lucid. Everybody.
Yeah.
It's crazy because in 2016, Laura says that he's on his deathbed. So to think that he's made such a huge, if we're to believe that, right?
Well, I asked him about
recovery.
Yeah, he had several bouts of cancer. Again, I know people were saying that's bullshit. Look, I'm not going to put my life on it and say that it's all. I don't think he would lie about that. I really don't, because you open yourself up for other things. And Jan told me that's all bullshit. That no, he's got doctors that have seen him and all, and he's made a miraculous. And it's not, you never make a recovery. You're always, because that could come back, kind of a thing.
Like in remission.
He got that. He's not confined to a wheelchair, but she helps him along, and he's again nearing 80 and that kind, which is not old, but it's not young, obviously. So, legit question. He didn't come across it like that. Now I don't know what he's like later on. I haven't spoken to him for a couple of months now. So I got a text from him recently, but it was just to let him know that I was going to be appearing on a show.
Oh, okay.
And full disclosure kind of a thing, and interesting responses that I've had. But I do that as a courtesy. I wouldn't want people talking about me without in this particular situation.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I wanted to know that I was doing a show.
Right. So are you aware of the case that's kind of, I guess it's ongoing now in the Bay Area with Laura and Mike Maricini?
Now I heard about that, heard the name, and I know that this is kind of a recent development. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so here's her latest court document, by
Okay.
the way. That's
Oh
me.
yeah, with you.
She's decided to put me in there.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
She picked a
Kind of
terrible
like Michael
screenshot.
said. Oh my God.
I look like I'm about to squeeze out a fart or something.
Yeah. Well, that's sexy. Very nice.
Totally.
Very nice.
That is very Catholic of you.
I know, man.
Look like a young, what's her name? The one that was in Misery, Kathy Bates.
Oh yeah.
I look like I'm farting into the confessional.
Well, you know, remember the Jeopardy? He would say, "Please be more specific."
Oh.
Lauren, don't be so specific.
I love being specific.
Yeah, so this
tribute.
this case was filed in 2018, renewed in 2020, was approved for 5 more years, and now she's trying to get a permanent DVRO against him. So it is fairly new, but stemming from 2018.
Yeah, I asked somebody, I think, isn't there a statute of limitations? And I guess she refiled it, right? Back before the statute of limitations would have kicked in. So.
Right.
Like the last day,
a day
right?
or two. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's interesting too, because she filed this like the TRO, the temporary restraining order, 2 days after Mike called the police on her for like verbally assaulting him in the street. I always thought that was interesting. Like she got called by the police and said, "Hey, this person made a report on you," and then it was already like 1 a.m. on the next day. So then the day after that, she filed this thing.
Wow.
Who knows?
It's again.
Apparently, I have something to do with that. So
Really?
no, I don't know why she put me in there. So I made a media request because I streamed her court case in Arizona. So I was like, okay, well, if they allow cameras, then I will stream the trial there. And the court said no, because I guess they don't allow cameras for that type of trial in San Francisco, which I totally respect. But then she wrote in her court filing here, she was like, Lauren retaliated by making a video about supporting Mike Maricini. I was like, no, I supported him before and I supported him after. It's totally irrelevant. Like, what are you talking about? And so she put that screenshot of me in her court filing.
Yeah, I was going to say, where did that come from?
Yeah,
that had to have been like, look like somebody
this stuff out of nowhere. It's so random, dude. It's so random. Anything. She'll throw anything in there.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring this up, and I said this to somebody sent me an email because Ron's pretty close to Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it was such a bizarre, it's one of these, you know, I kind of like laughing at first. I'm like, is this guy serious? I assumed it was a guy. He said, well, even if she's convicted criminal, you know, Ron's buddy with the governor, and he could just, you know, commute her sentence and all. I said, no, I don't think a guy who probably wants to be president would do something like that. But I, you know, and I'm like, first I was like, who's this guy? But he was kind of and they still know one another very, very well.
Mm-hmm. We actually had heard a story that she said he was Sarah's godfather.
Well, that would be sad.
Do you know anything about that?
I know too much about Gavin Newsom. Everything is presented. You know, this man that kind of like screws around with his best friend's wife.
Yeah. And
he's such a two-time. I don't want to get off on the love Gavin Newsom kind of a thing, but what a complete schmuck. Anyway, as you could see, I'm very but I, you know, so I don't think he's going to use his political capital to, you know, commute or pardon somebody that most, you know, but you know, they do run in those circles, you know, those social circles and all that. But A, I don't think he'd do that, and B, I don't think he's going to be president. I think you know, so my little 2 cents there. And I know many of you are like,
agreed. Oh, I was wondering if you could speak to Ron's like closeness or friendship with Bob Saget.
Yeah, very much so. I was down at a party with them in LA. And Ron became so popular, he presented an idea to his boss, ABC exec, about doing the show 1 week in San Francisco, where he developed, as I indicated, a huge following, and then doing the similar show, obviously LA centric, in Los Angeles, because the guy that was doing it for years and years, he apparently had lost ratings and the show sucked and all. His name was not the pop singer, obviously, Michael Jackson, British guy, very popular in Southern California, did a show on KABC. It never worked. Ron wanted to be like Rush Limbaugh. He wanted to be a syndicated big pioneer. That was great. He got in the Hall of Fame, Marconi winner, all that, but he really wanted to do what Rush did.
Mm-hmm.
Politics aside, because they weren't. I mean, he wasn't that right wing that Rush had become. But in any event, it didn't work out. So being in LA and spending time down there and having little coteries and things of that nature, he had on Bob Saget, who just, by the way, did that show on really weird end of his life, right?
Yeah.
Mystery. And he also, people didn't know, he did that show on television, the real wholesome show with the two little kids and all that. Bob Saget he was a stand-up comic.
Yes.
He was about as blue,
dirty.
Somebody, yeah, really.
Yep.
He made Andrew Dice Clay look like Peter Pan. That's how blue. And they became buddies and real good. They go out and have a couple of beers, and he was over. They invited me to a little function down there, and Bob Saget, nice man, cool, and but they were close. He came close. In fact, he had on. This is an interview you can pull off of the YouTube, and this was not one of Ron's better moments. He had an interview with Burt Reynolds. Didn't go well. Burt Reynolds basically told him to fuck off on the air.
Oh God!
And then about 5 years ago, and this person is no longer with us either, but I think this one. This guy, Lauren, and that was he had on Norm Macdonald.
Oh yeah,
Saturday Night Live and all that. And Norm Macdonald was basically foobarred, fucked up beyond all right. It was like he had to get up at 7:00. The show's
you told me about this story last night.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And Ron kept thinking he was high, and he kept alluding like, "Hey, clean it up, right? Yeah. And Ron, I have a cold." He took all this whatever that stuff, the night cold, what have you. He kept telling him that. He said it before he went on the air, and subsequently on the air, saying, "Look, I sound like I'm high and I'm fucked, but I'm dealing with a cold." Ron kept going every other 2 minutes. "Hey, you can clean it up. You're not." And it's on the air. You got to go listen to the interview.
Oh my God, because it's live.
Ron Owens, Norm Macdonald. And, as soon as it became apparent that he was, if he was fucked up, he would have said, or he would have even gone, you would have known, that kind of a thing. And it went viral. And he did not make Ron look good. So, yeah, he knew a lot of comics. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any more questions about that kind of stuff, Schnitzel, before we move on to a popular request?
It's funny. I found a post on our Norm Macdonald from 7 years ago. So on Reddit, it says jerk interviewer kicked Norm Macdonald off his show, and it's a link to the YouTube video, but it's not up anymore.
Oh,
really? I couldn't find it. Well, I think you can, if you surf around, you might be able to find it.
Yeah, maybe there's.
I might even have. Well, I'm not. Don't email me, but I'm. Yeah, it was not the best. It was really loud. Ron looked like the complete.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take some questions from the chat here, but before we do that, I have a popular request by the chat, which is to read.
Have I been admitted to a mental hospital in the last 30 days?
No. It's we're gonna read you something from the trial that you're probably not aware of.
All right.
Yeah, hang on.
God.
Yeah, you know what we're getting at already, don't you?
Oh, I don't. I don't.
I know.
She knows.
I don't even know what she's bringing up, but I know what she's bringing up. She's saying that.
All right. So this is an email from Laura to Clayton. And this was a little bit after their encounter, in which they did not have intercourse. But she said she was pregnant with twins, and he didn't believe her, so she's trying to convince him. And so they would like me to read this to you and get your reactions to this. So,
Or he could read it.
Well, you don't have to read the whole thing. You could just.
Oh, we're totally going to read the whole damn thing. It's
like
crazy.
that torture.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Trap
yeah.
me, girls. Trap me.
All right. Okay, wait. Can you read the screen, Rich?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Can you read what's on the screen?
I have prayed that this email will have an impact on you. Why don't you read it? I mean, I can see it. But glorious for me.
Okay. Clayton, I have prayed that this email will have an impact on you, unlike my others.
Read the title.
Oh, the title. The final opportunity to consider abortion. So she's trying to get him to date her in exchange for getting an abortion of the fake babies. Clayton, I have prayed this email will have an impact on you, unlike my others. It is truly the last you will get from me where abortion is a possibility. I have taken time to reflect on what I have been going through with our pregnancy and how you have acted towards me. You've shown no compassion or empathy while I have been endlessly patient with you and provided you with an absurd amount of evidence that I'm pregnant. I've been completely honest with you, as displayed by my willingness to send you anything you've needed at any time, and proven to you that based on when my pregnancy test became positive that there isn't a doubt you are the father. I understand that you, and of course the court, want a paternity test, and I've proactively been trying to schedule that with 3 different labs. I've connected Choice DNA, ArcPoint Labs, and any lab test now to see when is the soonest we can do it. If I weren't pregnant with your child, wouldn't I be avoiding that at all cost? You also, of course, that I was accepted as a patient at Scottsdale Perinatal Associates. If I weren't pregnant, why would a high-risk specialty practice that only accepts clients based on records that verify their pregnancy and their conditions take me as a client? I don't think she ever went there, did she?
No.
Nope. You have also been provided with recordings of 2 phone calls with the staff at Scottsdale Perinatal Associates that confirm their receipt of the ultrasound from Planned Parenthood and verify the pregnancy, along with acknowledge the fact that we will speak about the possibility of twins with the doctor on July 24th. In addition, you asked for photos within the hour of abortion pills to verify that I had gone. However, would I have been able to send photos of and with the pills with my name on it if I hadn't actually gotten them? In addition, why did I offer to take a pregnancy test immediately when I got to your apartment, and why would I have been positive if I wasn't pregnant?
Because you knew it was going to be positive.
Apparently, she was supplementing with HCG. No person in their right mind would think that there was a chance that my pregnancy wasn't real, so your lack of belief in it makes no sense. We are coming up on 2 weeks of me, the mother of your child, being blocked on text messaging in every platform.
And this is before she claimed that it was twins instead of one baby.
After you said that it was immature of you to have done that before and that you would not do it again, you promised to support me. It has been humiliating to have to rely on emails to communicate with you that have been mostly unresponded to, and when they have, you haven't been kind-hearted. I have poured my heart out to you as I've explained why this decision is so difficult for me because my father is dying right now. I've explained that the circumstances feel all too personal because my grandmother was almost aborted. At this point, I look stupid for continuing to respond to your endless requests for evidence when you have been provided with so much more than you needed. It was humiliating to pee on a stick in front of you, yet I did it, and when the test came back positive, you still didn't believe it. I never would have threatened to go to the media. If you hadn't told me at the start of this thing, we would do just that if the pregnancy wasn't real, because people like you need to be held accountable. Your behavior after discovering that I wasn't lying has been selfish. You haven't stepped up as a 30-year-old man would to be there for the mother of the child when you are half responsible for the situation, which is cowardly. I have told you why mental health matters so much to me because of what I have gone through, and opened up about a dark family secret that my grandma committed suicide and how it impacted my dad. You didn't even have the decency to respond to me. Given your behavior, I have absolutely no issue going to the media anonymously after the paternity test leaking what I have attached in the Dropbox file, which she eventually did. I don't even need to explain the story because your words and treatment of me say it all. If this is how you choose to explain the story If this is how you choose to treat me, I have absolutely no allegiance or loyalty to you and would be fully convinced that your mission was an attempt to stay in the public eye, which kills me to say because I really think that deep down you do care. I have been praying and praying for you to show me who you really are. God keeps telling me that you are a good person and someone whose life I can enhance, so I don't know why things have been as they are. I honestly wish he would be telling me differently because it's hard to keep believing in someone who is so demeaning in these circumstances. If the man you have been is who you are, you deserve to be held accountable, but my God, I don't want to do that. You can't say you haven't been given a voice when I told you I will have an abortion if we try things out for a few weeks and have a good reason for aborting a child. So she tried to get him to sign a contract that said they would date for a certain amount of time and she would get an abortion. Yeah. So far, it seems like you want to terminate the pregnancy because you don't want to grow up and because it would impact your dating life. Those are not good enough reasons to end a life. These words feel menacing because you know I like you and I want to try things out with you. I don't deserve to feel hurt at this point in my life and my pregnancy when I haven't done anything to deserve it. Oh my God, this is long-winded.
Yeah, it's on the second half of the email.
Okay. Well, how far down is it?
I have a different copy of this, but it was on the second page. Like if I split it
Okay.
into two,
Oh.
it's on the second page. Can you do a search for
Yep, got it. Found it. Okay, so we're going to start here. I come home tomorrow afternoon, so if you want us to consider an abortion, this really is our last chance because of timing and the fact that neither of us would want to end the pregnancy once there is a heartbeat. I would like to get together tomorrow night to talk and explore intimacy. So she's trying to convince him to have sex with her. It's time for you to make an effort if that's something we're considering. Obviously, I would love to have sex in the future and feel like I am the safest person you could have sex with since I'm pregnant. But if you really think like you said yesterday, my goal was to date and get pregnant during this time, we can absolutely hold off on it. However, it occurred to me that you might believe me more about paternity if you were inside of me and felt how tight I would be after not having sex in more than a year. Maybe then you would believe I hadn't been sleeping around, and again, you wouldn't be doing me any big favor. Having sex with me is a privilege and not something I have done for a long time. So this is her admitting that they have not had intercourse. And then later in court, she tried to, or in documents, she tried to represent that he did, go inside her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a very odd.
Yeah. This is, it ain't the screenplay to When Harry Met Sally.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. But anyways, this is probably the most bizarre thing about all this that sticks out in everybody's mind, I think. Certainly one of mine. When you think back to all this case stuff and like what made you think that she was lying in the beginning stages, it's like, well, she admitted that they did not have sex, and she was saying, you would know how tight I was or whatever.
Wouldn't that be like, maybe again, am I being naive? Wouldn't just a common pregnancy test? There's nothing there, or wouldn't that negate her that they had intercourse and that
they did that, and so she tested positive because she had HCG in her system. But then when she would go to do the ultrasound, she used, I think at one point she used her sister's ultrasound, and at another point she used someone else's ultrasound.
Yeah, a video ultrasound that people were able to.
No, I know what it is.
Yeah. And then in the Gillespie case, people found a Fiverr logo, which is, like an online website or app that you can have people do different tasks for you. So like, why is that on there if that's legitimately her ultrasound, right?
Hey, can you Photoshop this to make it look like it's mine?
And with Mike Mircini, she never sent any ultrasounds or sonograms to claim. She claimed she had 3 surgical abortions and 3 medical abortions for one set of twins, which at one point she claimed it was a new pregnancy. And then she said the person read the report wrong and it was actually still one twin that was there after 5 abortions.
Yeah.
And of course, she claimed with him that she had cancer. And now she's saying that she never said that. But then in her filing in California, she's saying the report is legitimate, which means it legitimizes the messages that came from her phone. So it just...
Well, she's in the middle of a criminal trial for fraud.
I have questions.
Yeah, everyone has questions, man. Stir Crazy says she tried to say he raped her, yet in this email she says, if you were inside me, you would see how tight I am. So he was never inside her. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Stir Crazy.
So it wasn't an inside job.
It was not.
Sorry.
Not inside the
I'm
bag.
trying to inject comedy to make this somewhat,
I know. Add a little levity to it.
Yeah.
It's there's like it's sometimes you laugh at this stuff and sometimes it's just horrifying. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is the thing that sticks out in most people's minds when you think about this case. It's like that email was crazy.
The last time I was in a woman, I was at the Statue of Liberty.
Oh my god.
I know that's
Same.
I've never been to the Statue of Liberty.
What's that?
I've never been there.
Oh, so you don't know the joke then, obviously, or the line.
No, I know you can go inside of it, but
Right,
I've
yeah,
never
you
I've just never even been there.
crown and everything. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Up, down, around,
Right,
everywhere.
I'm just trying to be funny, folks. I don't have any issues or whatever.
I have another question. If you
Yes.
don't mind.
For me?
Do you have any thoughts or opinions, or do you feel like you have enough information to have either of those things on Laura's former lawyer, David Gingras?
Yeah, I've heard about him, and I know he's been in the news recently.
I might have told him that.
I don't, lawyers are lawyers, right? They need cases and things of that nature, and and I, it's like a catch-22. I don't want to make it seem like I'm, piling on Ron and Laura, and again, it's not him. That's not trial, or eventually trial if it gets that far, or his wife. They are the parents of this young lady, so, but it don't look good. I mean, it's what I've read, and I don't know what to say. It doesn't look good.
It's a lot.
But we haven't had that full revelation yet, and we haven't had the day in court. When you show documents like that, that's not very No,
kosher. And then there's of course this where she says she was pregnant, and somebody brings up here, thank you Rach G for the 5. He knows how bad energy drinks are for moms, ? Show him the video of her chugging. So she was chugging Monster Energy during court while she was supposedly pregnant. Yeah.
Those things are like chemicals and crap, and
Right.
Yeah. And she was just downing them during a court hearing. She didn't know that we could see her.
Wow.
Yeah. So that. Sir Crazy, thank you for the 5. Didn't she say in documents she swallowed all of it both times? I try to forget.
What could I ask you, Rich? Like, what in your opinion makes Laura look believable, or like, what do you feel like is working in her favor in any of this?
Well, I would say, who would make this up, or who would? I mean, on the other hand, her target is this obviously public guy who, on a show that's watched by millions of people and all that. But she seems to have been doing well. The family's not poverty stricken. So if you want to make a contention about money and all that, well, she had money, not the kind of money apparently that this guy has, but that's the only thing I could think. And I keep going back to her upbringing was pretty focused and cool and all that. But I don't know her. I never met her. I don't know. Maybe there's a chromosome short or two. I have no clue, which makes it all the further, maddening. What is going through Ron's cranium, kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah, like you said. I mean, if
I just absolutely have I don't know. I hate to sound like it's a non-answer, which it is, I guess, but
it's hard. Like, if he's not like directly involved in this stuff, say maybe he knows it's going on, and say maybe even Jan is helping her with some of it.
Well, that's what I've heard a lot too, and
and I mean there was an accomplice named, so then the question now is, who's the accomplice? Is it David Gingras? Is it Jan? Is it someone?
I don't think it would be. I don't know the guy, but I think he's an attorney. I don't think he would want to be involved in something that could potentially disbar him. He's a client. He's got he's advertised help or hired to help his client. That kind of thing. I don't think he'd go as far as to insert justice and all that for somebody that he knew was. No, I don't.
Yeah, you would hope not, right?
No, I don't think so. Any decent attorney would not do that.
But there's the problem. He's not a decent attorney.
Well, yeah, you know a little bit more than I do.
Well, no, I'm just being a dick. But
no, I understand. No, I mean, not
Bruce says, has Rich ever met or heard of Joe Cotchett?
Yeah, he's a very, very famous, one of the best trial antitrust attorneys in the world, who lives in that very wealthy part of the peninsula, which is kind of Palo Alto, Stanford,
Mhm.
Burlingame. It's sort of the gateway to Silicon Valley. Yeah, Joe Kotchett and I know he's a friend of Ron.
He is apparently on the potential witness list for the criminal trial.
I saw that.
Yeah, so she, I guess, said, or at one point, may have forged an email from his firm or emails from his firm.
I don't know anything about that,
Yeah.
and if I that I wouldn't say
Yeah.
anything because but
Yeah, I got you.
I haven't heard that or seen that. But I saw that he was on the. I've been asked this before, but somebody, Joe Kotchett, is a big time attorney,
Right.
one of the finest antitrust attorneys in the world, and he lives out here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Rach, do you think of the five? I'm going to say, I probably know the answer to this one. She mentioned cheating in an email to Mike. Does he know anything about that? He doesn't, I mean, he didn't know Laura at the time, so I'm going to say no, but that was a question
Don't
about.
know that. I don't, so I won't say. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotcha. Joe Kotcha is besties with Newsom too. Is everybody friends with Gavin Newsom except for me?
Well, I mean,
God.
I don't know if that's a valuable commodity these days. I don't know what the hell he's standing for.
Yeah.
I've met him many times. In fact, I was sitting once with his dad, who used to be the head of the California Court of Appeal, Justice Bill Newsom, and he was very connected. He got his son, and he's cushy Newsom with the Gettys. Why? In San Francisco, because they are the darlings of power, people who want power, and especially a guy that could conceivably end up at the White House. So, yeah. I mean, Gavin was a supervisor in San Francisco, became mayor, became lieutenant governor. Now he's obviously governor, and he wants to be president.
Yeah.
I think this is, now you have Harris. I'm going off on politics, but
It's okay.
yeah, they have quite a bit of people that are with them because power is sort of a delicious aphrodisiac and all that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I met his father, and his father no longer around, but interesting family. Interesting family.
But here's a
I
decent
was at a
question.
party once at this place called the I'd take you there, Lauren, and my friend Ninja here.
Yeah.
And they were there, and guess who walks in? I'm sitting there with various people at the Balboa Cafe. Is the name. It used to be a restaurant that Gavin owned, and the Gordon Getty walks in, who lives in of the Getty family, billionaire, and we have Newsom, Getty family, virtually all of San Francisco, royalty and all that, and then they all stopped talking. Yeah, it was quite a scene. I went up to one of them and I said, "Hey, can you loan me 30 grand? I'll pay right." No, I couldn't even said that, but yeah, Gavin is I mentioned early about a half hour ago about I got an email saying, "Hey, he'll just pardon Ron's thought." I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
somebody has a question. What has surprised Rich the most about all of this?
that it's even happening, that it's taking place, and that it's kind of like reminds me of one of those what is it? It's like Shakespearean, like really like talk about Shakespearean tragedy and all that. This is I keep what is the end result? Somebody is going to get their comeuppance, I would assume.
Yeah, seems that way.
Which it's going to be sad no matter what.
Yeah, that's tough. Somebody just has a compliment for you. It says Rich has cool stories.
Well, that's something I will not. Yeah, I've been in some weird situations that I just happen to be. Yeah, I could tell a million stories. Well, maybe not a million, but yeah, that's the Bay Area. We've had some of the weirdest things happen in this mecca. Yeah, lovely California, right? Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, it's really well. You probably were. Well, I'm sure you heard of this, but you weren't around. But when we had the horrific things. And remember Jonestown, those people, they
Yeah.
were killed. They weren't, few of them killed themselves, but they were basically murdered.
Right. Yeah.
I was in the fall of 78. And then we had 2 weeks later, or not even 2 weeks, 10 days later, we had the assassination of both the mayor, Moscone in San Francisco, and the gay supervisor, Harvey Milk.
Mm-hmm.
The city was just mortified. It was everybody, you could see it. And Ron was thought to be, and was, he cried on the air. He was not just taken aback personally, but he cried, and everybody sort of had a place to commiserate and to talk and to look at things and talk about what we witnessed 2 weeks of hell. That was we'll never forget. Many of the people that were in the Jonestown thing were right here across the bay in Oakland and all that. And then you have, on top of that, you have the murders of Moscone, and then the guy that killed him, the supervisor who killed himself later on. And it was just a colossal mess. People were really touched by that, in a negative way, obviously. Yeah. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ron was like people called up and they cried right on the radio. So he was that influential in terms of just, he'd call people, hey, look, he cried. He knew the mayor very, very well. And he knew Dan White, the supervisor who went and killed these people. So, and then Jones completely, this crazy man who kissed his way up with these politicians, and talk about a Greek tragedy. So
we have another question. It says, how's Rich doing? I'd imagine learning of this stuff and discussing the case, as well as dealing with the public on YouTube, could be stressful. Wishing him well and love his sense of humor.
Thank you. And that's, what is that, Alex? Thanks, Alex. As you can imagine, as I've stated, love getting a little therapy here myself with these two illustrious hostesses and all that. I wasn't joking there, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to talk about it in another venue, and I appreciate your nice words. So, yeah, just to tell my own version without stating anything stupid or anything of that nature. But thanks for the comment.
Yeah, our friend Dave says hi. Dave Neal. I don't know if you ever talked to
Dave. Uncle Rich. Oh my God, Dave.
Oh, speaking of Uncle Rich, I was wondering when we were talking about Joe Cotchett. So, like, Laura, claims that he was like close with their family, and she called him Uncle Joe. Do you know if
I have no idea why she does that? His wife Jan Black refers to Ron as Ronnie. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah.
It may just be some kind of affectation, or it may just be the fact that I didn't realize they're that close, but I do know that he knew a lot of people. He knew the Aliotos, who used to be the mayor here years ago before I was even born. They, like I said, he was a social, he being Ron, and they're people that are like me, but they don't talk about it because it's almost like a quasi, don't say anything, as an homage to Ron. And I think I texted you, I am an independent thinker. Nobody controls me. So I wanted to get the message out too, not anti-Ron or anti-Laura or pro-Clayton or anti-Clayton. I needed to come clean with this, and I'm so.
I'll say, like, I think I can speak for everyone that we respect that and we appreciate that.
And I appreciate, that's one of the reasons why. And I told this to Lauren, that I came on the show, because I thought, not that you have to hear it from me, but you were credible, and they're the people that have sort of gone to Ron's corner. Well, they're not credible. They have issues and all. I don't know that. I don't think that's the case. I wouldn't have done this show. I think, in fact, Lauren has been very fair with me, and so I'm here because of Lauren.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's because I'm so funny and charming.
Lauren, anyways. You are very charming. And that check, by the way, there's one R, and can you?
All right, man.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail.
Gemma says, did Rich meet Diana Feinstein? Wasn't she mayor around that time?
She became mayor because, and somebody even have said around here, she probably owes her political. She's now deceased, obviously. She became mayor. She was president of the board of supervisors. And there's that stunning announcement when she had to announce to the world that both the mayor and the supervisor were murdered. Well, yeah, she became the mayor, subsequently senator of California, 6-term senator. She obviously there was talk about her running for president. I think she probably would have, but at the end, it wasn't she became talking about very unlucid and 91 years old. It didn't look and wasn't good at the end. So, but yeah, Dianne Feinstein was that's how she got her ascent to the top in San Francisco politics, subsequently national politics.
So we have a hypothetical here from someone. Rich, if this was your daughter, I guess if Laura was your daughter, what would you do?
I would ache like hell.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I would do. I really, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'd have to. They're my kids. They're my son, my daughter, what have you. I don't know anybody who'd say, no, I'm gonna. I mean, this is not. Let's also keep in mind that this is not a murder. This is not, which would make it even further. But it's a good question. Thought about it myself. You could defend, and I'd like to think that Ron and Jan, their parents first and foremost, and that they would. I don't know. I just really, go put our daughter in jail.
That's a tough one, yeah.
I don't know what I would do. That's a good question too. So,
all right, guys.
I think it's hard for anyone to answer that, because
I would turn around. What would you do?
Right.
Jordan?
Right.
Really.
And it might be easy to say, well, I'd hold her accountable, but then there's like the love aspect, like being their parent.
Yeah, right. But it's every other day I shake my head again. I just say to myself, how did it get to this? And if you'd known what I'd known about growing up and knowing Ron as I did, we weren't that close. I don't want to make it sound like we were, I knew we were social friends. We talked, schmoozed, as they say, and he tried to set me up with a couple of women and all that. I mean, we were, yeah. I'm only not bringing it up. Well, look at me, Anyway, but yeah, I was, and then we had the fallout, and it became kind of a cause celeb here. People were asking me, how can you do that? This guy is so good to you and all that. And they didn't even, and I felt bad about it. Yeah, which led to the irony of us coming back together again was apologizing to him for the manner in which I acted. I overdid it, kind of a thing. And then this thing falls. It's almost like, my mom used to say, what's the old phrase? Truth is stranger than fiction and fate. Here we are back in this. Yeah, never thought it would be like this. So,
yeah. Did Ron reach out to you after you kind of publicly stated your opinions on Cumulus?
Oh, well, we were still. I thought you were talking about this deal. He did reach out to me after I came on and said what I said. Well, I apologize. I went on my show and I said to the two people that may not have known what I did for years that, sorry, I had a bad 7-Up. I think I went through the wrong tube.
Oh, no.
I know you were worried. Women, call me. No.
Oh, my God.
You too can be, yes. They call the insane asylum. Remember that? Okay. You don't know that. Remember that, Lauren?
I remember that song. Yeah, I do.
Wizard of Oz.
It's her theme song.
It is.
Yeah. Not exactly a highway to hell, but good song. Anyway, so we were where was I talking? Oh yeah. I had said what I said, and I told you I didn't apologize. I apologized for how I acted, not what I said. He was kissing ass with this fucking Cumulus, which destroys radio stations, and put these really wonderful legacy radio stations out to pasture. Now everybody's listening to satellite stereo and Spotify and the internet, so it doesn't apply and all that. But at a time when people were still, not on the iPhones and shit and looking at pictures of streaming devices, it was very powerful conduit in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And I basically railed him for kissing the ass of this company. That he didn't have to. He was far bigger. They needed him more than he needed them. But anyway, so that's that. And then when this thing broke, after we made up, or he accepted my apology, I talked about this deal. And then he called me. And Jan did. And they basically told me, they read the riot act to me about this group of people that were, in his mind, in her mind, that they were going after and trying to do what they did. And they had an agenda and all that. And I said to myself, well, okay, I believe you're wrong, but, and then they had the GoFundMe thing, which I've already explained. I thought, wait, what's this? And I told him to come clean. That was the headline.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It really is. It's very, very, it's going to be tragic no matter what. I mean, I hope to God that we get, again, the truth comes out, right? That would be
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys, it is past midnight where I'm at, so I'm going to have to head to bed. But thanks, Rich, for joining us. We appreciate it. I know everybody really liked hearing from you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
No,
Oh, they really did.
Yes.
No, I will.
Appreciate your willingness to talk and to answer questions. I don't know. It might not be.
Can I plug my show? I know that's really cheesy.
Yeah, I put your link in there. But
Oh, you did? Okay.
Go ahead and do your thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. Come on. We do a show every day. You always make yourself more important if you refer to yourself as we.
Yeah.
And I do sponsor dinners with women that are blind and generally can put up with me. And, I am a heterosexual, by the way. I hear they're making a comeback.
I don't know. I heard you really like lesbians. I heard that.
I love lesbians. Oh, yeah, you know that. Yeah.
And breaded snacks.
I did see that one. Yeah.
The lesbian thing. Oh, yeah. The psychic who thought that was like all like legit. The psychic. That was completely. Oh, whatever. I have to explain it. I guess it didn't work. It was all satire. Look it up, folks. Look it up. Or as my friend Peter Falk. I don't know if you remember the show Columbo.
Yes.
Remember Peter Falk? You can look it up.
Yeah.
You would always, excuse me. Am I bothering you? Because if I'm bothering you, I'll leave you alone right now. So anyway, that's my little part. Tease. But yeah, no,
I got a link to Rich's show and it's pinned in the chat there. I'm going to put it in the description and the comments when we finish this stream as well. So you can go and subscribe to him there and hear more of his comedy. If you want.
The king of comedy. Yeah, this is proving that comedy is not easy. Snitchel is like, well, it's not that bad. I mean, after all, he's not like Tom Arnold and Roseanne. She basically. Remember that?
Yeah.
I got to meet him. Oh, I met him too, and her. Because
how was that?
Oh God, making jokes about it. That woman falls on me every night at a party, and boy, that's the bad news. Good news, he got $50 million.
Oh my God.
They weren't in love.
Oh my God.
When they first met each other, yeah, I met him at a party that Ron had.
Oh, interesting.
Can you believe that? Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, I'm done. I'm sorry for
guys.
hijacking your program.
We're going to sign off now. Good night, everybody. And don't forget to hit that subscribe to Rich's channel, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Rich, you can stay put for a minute. Hang on.
I will.